Success has never belonged to those who wait for the perfect moment.
Welcome to The Explainer. I'm seriously so excited to jump into today's material with you all. We're going to break down this incredibly powerful motivational framework and, actually transform it into a concrete step-by-step blueprint for success. The source material we're looking at today takes these big abstract concepts and totally grounds them into actionable truths. So let's just dive right in, because the anatomy of achievement is absolutely fascinating when you really lay it out analytically.
Right off the bat, the source material shatters a super common myth. It says, success has never belonged to those who wait for the perfect moment. I mean, we've all been there, right? Waiting for the exact right time or for the stars to perfectly align. But the reality presented here is that the journey to greatness, it starts with a definitive decision to just move forward, often when literally every single circumstance around you is screaming at you to stop. That resistance, that friction you feel, well, that is the storm.
And that brings us to our first core theme, pushing through the storm and redefining setbacks and failure.
This framework really emphasizes that the road to greatness is incredibly demanding. It's going to test your patience, your courage, your determination. There will definitely be seasons where your progress feels totally invisible, where the doubts in your head are way louder than your confidence, and where quitting just looks like the most logical choice. But think about this for a second. Does a falling child ever question if walking is possible? Studies show a toddler learning to walk falls an average of 17 times an hour. 17! Yet, they never once question whether walking is actually achievable. There's zero embarrassment, no fear of judgment from the adults in the room. There's just pure, unadulterated persistence. They just get up, time and time again, until those wobbly steps become effortless movement.
Which leads us perfectly into this absolute truth from the author. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is one of its greatest teachers. This totally reframes our whole relationship with failure. Our source text points out that every single setback you face carries a crucial lesson. Every mistake contains wisdom. Every obstacle develops a type of resilience that comfort simply never could. The people we look up to the most, they didn't just magically avoid failure. They flat out refused to let failure become their final chapter. Your future isn't determined by how many times you fall down. It's determined solely by the number of times you choose to stand back up.
Okay, let's shift gears to our next section, the compound effect of habits and building extraordinary results.
The text makes it super clear that the life you experience today is largely the result of the habits you've repeated over time. Your health? That's a reflection of your daily choices. Your financial future reflects your daily disciplines. Your confidence reflects the promises you keep to yourself. Our framework highlights several seemingly insignificant daily micro-decisions: reading one more chapter, exercising for another 15 minutes, learning one new skill, or just practicing gratitude before you go to sleep. On their own, these might look incredibly small, almost too small to even matter, right? But success is rarely built through one massive, dramatic breakthrough. More often than not, it's built exactly through this: thousands of micro-decisions made every single day.
The core instruction from the author here is to improve just 1% today. Think about the math on that. If you get 1% better each day for a year, you end up 37 times better by the time you're done. That is huge. These actions appear tiny in the moment, but time has this extraordinary way of multiplying consistent, small efforts. The distance between ordinary and extraordinary is almost always measured by this persistent 1% over the long haul.
Moving right along into Phase 3, discipline outlasts fading motivation, and why excellence is never an accident.
So the book asserts that excellence is the natural outcome of disciplined habits practiced long after your initial motivation has completely faded away. The source material paints this really stark contrast between two driving forces. First up, motivation. It's powerful, kind of like a campfire, but it's temporary. It disappears the second the excitement fades. But then there's discipline. Discipline is the gears that keep turning when the excitement is gone. Discipline keeps you completely focused when 100 different distractions are actively competing for your attention. Most importantly, discipline reminds you of your overarching purpose when your emotions are basically begging you to quit.
And the psychological payoff of this discipline is absolutely massive. As the text states, every promise you keep to yourself strengthens your confidence. Every commitment you honor builds this immense trust within yourself. When you show up, day after day, regardless of how motivated you feel, eventually you stop wondering whether you're capable of achieving your goals. You simply know that you are.
Let's look at Section 4, Your Environment Shapes Your Standards, and the Contagious Nature of Energy.
The people around you shape your future way more than you probably realize.
primarily because both energy and negativity are highly contagious. The source breaks this down into a really clear 3-step cycle. First, you have to curate your environment. You literally need to spend your time with people who challenge your thinking, expand your vision, and inspire you to become better. You must surround yourself with individuals whose actions actually match the future you want to create. Second, this environment quietly influences your standards. It normalizes either excellence or mediocrity. And finally, step 3, those standards directly determine your final results.
This is exactly why you can never, ever underestimate the power of a single conversation, a mentor's guidance, or just the encouragement of someone who believes in your potential before you even fully believe in yourself. Having that kind of presence in your curated environment, that can be the exact catalyst you need to push through when the invisible progress makes you want to throw in the towel.
Which brings us to our final thematic section, building the mental blueprint and protecting your mindset. The core lesson here is that you absolutely have to protect your mindset just as carefully as you protect your ultimate goals. Your mindset is the bedrock foundation upon which all your habits, discipline, and environmental standards are built. So, what should you be feeding it? Well, the source material argues that what you consistently feed your mind eventually shapes your reality. Fill it with knowledge, possibility, and courage. Your greatest victories will always begin inside your mind long before they ever appear in your physical life.
The crucial takeaway here is that every achievement is created twice, first in the mind and then in reality. You've got to see your future clearly. Imagine yourself accomplishing what once seemed totally impossible. You must visualize the person you're becoming, and not just with idle wishful thinking, but with absolute, unshakable conviction. If you believe deeply enough, work consistently enough, and remain patient long enough, your vision is going to gradually become your life.
The author leaves us with this final, really provocative thought to wrap up our explainer today. Are you willing to plant seeds in the dark before the harvest? Listen, the journey is not always going to be comfortable. There are going to be sacrifices, some pretty heavy setbacks, and long seasons where your progress feels completely invisible. But remember the framework's core message. Seeds grow underground long before anyone ever sees the harvest. You have to continue planting, continue learning, and continue believing, because true success always rewards those who refuse to surrender before their breakthrough arrives. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I really hope this breakdown of the anatomy of achievement empowers you to push through your own storms.